Good morning, everybody. It's Danny and Wanda back from Pecan Grove. Guys, I've got to do some work on the back of the Cub tractor. And really I've looked on YouTube and I haven't really seen anything about what I'm fixing to do. So I thought it might be a good time to put this on YouTube for somebody who doesn't know or maybe is doing the transition that I'm doing. Right now we have the hay cutter, the sickle bar set up on the back of it right here. And I need to be able to take this off to put another attachment on it, but we don't have to do away with the sickle bar completely. So we're fixing to begin on taking this apart so we can get this off of here so I can install another attachment on here without having to do away with the hay sickle bar cutting apparatus we have here. So how that begins is on the back side of this is a lock nut that adjusts this shaft up and down. It holds it in place. There's a bolt that goes through it. Then there's an adjustment nut on the very bottom of it here. And what we're going to do is loosen this one up here. And then we're going to loosen the adjustment up so we can get some slack in this belt to be able to take this belt off. Then we're going to tighten it back down. Then we're going to take this pulley off of here. That's kind of the procedure we're going to take and go through first. Here, this is our lock nut here. This one is the one that actually tightens everything down once you get this turned into place. Now this has a lock nut on it, and guys, this is the #1 wrench right here for FARMALL CUB. I'm gonna tell you, I use this like 99% of the time on this tractor. This one wrench does everything on here. Now I'm gonna loosen this up. And this one has 2 nuts on it because it has a lock nut, because these things are bad about because they shake and vibrate so bad that they'll come loose. Now you could use I guess you could use a ratchet on here, but usually it doesn't take that much to get that belt off of there. Now we've got it loose. We should have that loose enough that we can get this belt off of here. Let me see if we can't make this happen. Yeah, that's moving up and down now. I hope it's enough. This belt is so heavy and so thick until it is kind of tough to get that. Because see, when you turn this, you're actually turning the engine, because this is a straight shot through this thing, and it is very difficult to get this completely off of here without taking this nut. Now I can go ahead and take this nut completely off here, and I may go ahead and do that. I'm gonna lay it down right there at the bottom one. Let me just go ahead and see if I can't loosen this on up a little bit more to make this just a little bit simpler. We don't have the best lighting in our shop yet because we don't have electricity hooked up in here, but most of it's done by feel back here anyway. All right, now let's see if we can't. I can't figure out which way is going to be the easiest way, because this shaft keeps dropping down because of the weight of it. It keeps falling down on me. So that is an issue here, and there was not really any way to prise up on it to hold it. So let's see here if we can't figure out how to get this belt off of this thing. The motor keeps rocking over with me. There we go. I think we can get it this way. The compression on that engine, it's a brand new engine in it, and the compression is like super strong on it. Okay. We have the belt off now. And plus this is a brand new belt, which makes it even stiffer and harder. All right. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this, not necessarily tighten it back up. I'm gonna run this bolt back up on this just a little bit back here. To go out to use this thing, I don't want the nuts to fall off of it, which I don't think this one will, because this feels like a lock nut that's on here. I want enough to be able to put that other nut back on it and be able to lock it down. If we can't run this back up on there. I've learned with farm equipment, if you leave one part laying somewhere, it mysteriously comes up missing.
And you find it weeks later.
Yeah, you find it when you're not looking for it. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and tighten this one back down. Okay.
You like your little chair, don't you?
I like my little chair. Okay.
You like your concrete floor.
I love the concrete floor.
And the building to get under.
Yes, that makes it so much easier. Okay. Now on the back side of this, there is a cotter key back here that you have to take out right here. This cotter key goes through this pulley. Get it here where we can see it. Out there, it's a big old giant cotter key that goes through it. Then there is a 9/16 bolt right here. Right there is a 9/16 bolt in this thing. We got to take that loose so we can slide this off of that shaft. Well, I may have to go underneath it because I don't have room up here. Let's see if I can get this on here. I don't have room to turn my wrenches on there. That's what it is. And guys, these pulleys right here, there's only one company in the United States I found that manufactures this pulley. And you pay dearly for this pulley. So if you find one on a Cub FARMALL, you better hang on to it. This one was $350. Okay, I stick the cotter key back in it because, like I said, things have a way of coming up missing if you don't put it back. There's a bolts around this plate right here that we need to take out in order to be able to attach the part that I need to attach. And I tightened these babies down last time, so there we go. Once you get them broke loose, they usually turn really easy. Because this right here, if they're not good and tight, this will leak oil out of your transmission. Because there is a gasket behind it. A lot of people would say, well, you just need to use a ratchet. Well, not really. It's not really that necessary. Now, what I do is usually my cub is nastier than it's ever been right now. I do apologize for that because y'all know I don't usually let my cub get this bad a shape. But we've been so busy with our move and we've been cutting hay with it, so it's had some running done with it. There's no need. That's the reason I said there's no need for a ratchet, because these usually come out very, very easy. Now, what you might want to consider is the piece of equipment that I'm going to be putting on here requires a longer bolt, and the longest bolt in here was the bottom one right here in the bottom. And because you may not have long enough bolts if you just have just a cover on here. You may have to get longer bolts. And I believe what happened was I went ahead and put the longer bolts in it because I knew I was going to be using this when I first rebuilt this tractor. All right. All those are off, and as usual, my hands got completely filthy. All right, now we're going to be installing the part, and the part is All right, this right here has a splined shaft in it. There's no oil in this. This is all dry. So you don't have to have a gasket on this between the two of them. The gasket goes between these two up here. Now, we will check the oil and all that in this a little bit later on. Right now, you just got to rotate it around till you figure out where to slide up on there at. And lots of times, what happens is these, if them splines are the least bit dirty, these things lots of times won't go up on there. You want to go ahead and get you one in there. Now don't tighten them down until you get them all in there. Now it's a little dark, you can't see up in there. We're going to get it. Because this is all cast. If you tighten something down and it ain't lined up just right, you will break it. And trust me, you don't want to break this stuff. This stuff is hard to find. Alright, we're about to get there with the, run them down just a little bit at a time. You can tell if you feel it start touching, like I feel that one touching. I'm going to stop and I'm going to go all the way over to the other side over here. And I'm going to start tightening this one down. Till I feel it, okay, I feel it touching. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to start tightening all the rest of them down till I feel them start touching. That one's touching. Let's do the bottom one. I feel it touching. Now this is the one up here that usually gives you the most trouble. My daddy would just build a wrench. I'll tell you, he'd build a wrench. Now this one I feel touching, but I'm gonna go ahead and start tightening this one down. And make sure okay, that one's tight. Now we're going to go opposite of that one, which is way down here. And we're going to tighten that one, then we're going to come all the way opposite over here. We're going to tighten that one, then we're going to come all the way back up here. We're going to tighten that one, and then we're going to come to the very bottom one. Now the very top one doesn't get a bolt because that has a an alignment pin in it for the PTO plate that goes on there, so as you can get it lined up. Now that we have this on there, now one thing I want to tell you guys, I'm going to take a bolt off right here. There is a sleeve that slides up in this right here. This sleeve right here, do not slide it out, because if you do, your oil that's in this will pour out through that. That sleeve is part of the seal system that goes in this. This just slides up on the threads there. You just kind of work it around till you get it lined up. There it goes. It slides on there. Then we want to take this bolt right here, slide it back in there, and we want to tighten this back down. This is the 9/16. And be careful with your pulley here now that you don't get grease all over this or oil, because if you do, then your belt will want to slip on it. All right, we want to take this plug out right here. This is our fill level plug. Now, the tractor's sitting on a level slab in here, so we shouldn't have any problems. Make sure to put my rags under it so I don't get anything on the concrete if it happens to be full. Nope, no, nothing drained out. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to come up here to the top. Come on. we want to undo this. This will be our fill point where we put our oil in at. All right. Now what we're going to put in it is standard oil. Let's see, we got it right up here. SAE 80W90. It's just a regular lubricant called SuperTech. Right there it says 80W90 gear lubricant. Let me get sit down here so that when I have to, I can put this plug back. I'm just letting it pour in there. It doesn't hold a tremendous amount. I just want to be ready that when it starts pouring out, I can stick this plug in here. We just rebuilt all this and we're filling it all back up with oil.
And you're not putting much in at a time, just in case.
Oh, here it comes. Trying to hold it over that so I can get this plug started here. These plugs got some fine threads on them, makes them really difficult to. That's why I have a rag underneath it there, because it's gonna drip and it's gonna get oil on stuff. We want to make sure we don't get it all over everything. Technically, this is a, looks like a 3/8 or a 7/16 wrench, but okay, got that. We're gonna stick our big plug back. And I think, guys, we are fixing to be ready to have this where it will. This don't have to be extremely tight, just run down good and simple. Oh, everything's so dirty from sitting up down in that barn. Alright guys, I hate to see all this dust on everything, but it's been sitting up in the barn up there. And but I do invite y'all to continue to watch. This completes the process. You see this is turning the PTO system in the tractor there. Now when I lock that PTO in right there, it will actually turn the transmission up yonder. But what we're going to do is I'm going to see if we can crank it up, and we're going to lock it in and make sure all this is working so that we know we don't have any issues. All right, we're turning the fuel on. Out of gear. Turning the power. This old tractor, I've learned, if you don't choke it, it usually does better. Now this has been sitting here, hadn't been cranked, so we're gonna see how it does. Like all these old things, it's a little cold natured. It might take you just a minute here. completes our install of our 6-inch PTO driven belt that we're going to be using to run the grist mill with. I think everything turned out really well.
It is a little fast.
It is a little fast. It turns at crankshaft speed. I am actively looking for another pulley this size and one about 12 inches in diameter so that I can reduce the speed going into my 24-inch old-fashioned Meadows grist mill. It's a 24-inch stone grist mill. That's turning just a little bit too fast, and I need to be able to reduce it down. I'll get me some pillow block bearings and shafts and stuff to install this into. But that's what I'm looking for. But right now, we just got to do what we got to do until we get to that point. Thank you guys from Pecan Grove.